Whisper Loudly is a talk show which allows people the freedom to speak up, share insights, and inspire others to pivot in the 21st century while moving forward in creating a better future for all. Hi, I'm Karen Ashwin. I'm the CEO of the event production company. And so many of you are asking me about how to create leads for your business. So today I'm sitting down with Brandon Buzital, who's the Managing Director of Digital Grind Agency. And he's going to tell us and walk us through a process of how we can actually create leads for our business. Brandon, welcome. Please tell me a little bit about yourself. Tell me a little bit about Digital Grind. And then let's dig deep into how to create leads.
Fantastic. Thank you, Karen. Thank you so much for having me. Very excited to get going on this. I'm Brandon Buzital, Managing Director of Digital Grind Agency. Digital Grind is a digital marketing company that helps clients globally increase their revenue through three main verticals. So that is looking at strategies for our clients, developing strategic strategies to increase growth. That ties us into actually something that we call solution design, which is basically a fancy way of saying custom web development or application product development. And then that leads us into actually marketing. So whether that's trying to increase leads that we're going to discuss about today, or maybe it's increasing brand or product awareness, engagement, could be to deal with the changes of needs and preferences of your buyers. So our marketing activities obviously help clients achieve that.
Fantastic. All right, so let's start with the process. How does this all begin?
Sure. So if we're talking about lead generation or brand awareness, whatever it is, okay, they're always, we follow the same process. So basically, we start off with a discovery workshop with our clients. That is for our key strategists to really understand the business, okay, understand the landscape, your competitors, your internal processes, the marketing infrastructure, but very importantly, who are your key buyers, so your personas or the key accounts that you're targeting, which then actually leads us into that development, persona development. So truly understanding, your demographics, what are their pain points related to what you're providing, so related to your service and how you help them overcome that. Or what are their key objectives they're looking at achieving, and how can your obviously product or service help them achieve this? Because that actually leads us into the content development. Like, how are we going to develop the content? What are the key messages that we want to deliver to them? What is obviously those main drivers that are going to help them take action, right? Because that's what you want obviously your audience to do. You want them to see content, understand your business, resonate with that content, and then take action to actually lead them to the next step. The next step for us in a lead generation process is actually the content development and the distribution of that content. So part of obviously doing the persona development is understanding, if you're a B2B or B2C organization, where do your clients actually go to source their information, or how do you get in touch with your potential customers? So from a B2B perspective, we understand that LinkedIn is a great avenue to distribute and place your content there. If you're looking at a more B2C audience, we understand the likes of Facebook or Instagram is obviously fantastic from an advertising medium as well. Or you could just have a fantastic database, and that's where we look at actually email marketing. There's obviously loads of things I can go into, and we'll get to that. But those are the beginning processes, and then obviously the next step is actually capturing and qualifying of those leads. There's no good distributing fantastic content, and then your actual potential lead goes and engages with that content, goes to the next step. Let's say be it a landing page, and there is not properly set up to actually capture your potential leads when they're there. So understanding how we're going to capture your audience is super important, and also how we're going to qualify them. So if we take the event company for an example, you work closely with marketing managers and business owners of a certain employee headcount. So we know that to qualify them, we need to know their job title, we need to know their company or their company size. So at least that when you're actually engaging with these, potential clients, you're not wasting their time, they're not wasting your time. Because at the end of the day, it's not about the quantity of leads. It's obviously about, the quality. So ensuring that we are able to set that up for clients is super important. And then it goes down to actually the internal sales team. So that means how does sales follow up? If you've just captured potential leads details, is someone following up immediately? What does that process look like? Because we understand in this day and age, time is limited, and if someone is getting in touch now, you need to ensure that your sales team or your marketing automation is set up so that they are quickly engaged with, and you can obviously schedule that appointment or book that free trial, whatever that process then looks like.
Okay, fantastic. So let's go back a little step. If we look at strategy, do we need to devise a strategy that if we want to create leads and find our different personas, would we have a different strategy for a B2B as opposed to a B2C audience?
Yes, I mean the strategy as a whole would definitely differ. Just in terms of the content, the type of content we're creating, where we're distributing that content. It's vastly different at times. So how we really look at it is understanding your part of obviously this whole discovery workshop and really understanding your personas and looking at the business is knowing how can your audience obviously hear about your brand. So there are a variety of ways that we can obviously break that down. So in terms of activities and strategies, we could look at something everyone's very familiar with is SEO. Is there a challenge where your customers or your potential customers can't find your business on Google? And do we need to obviously invest in time to try get you to the top of Google? If it's a consideration-based process that your clients go on in terms of finding out about your business, that obviously ranking very high on Google is super important, or it could be Google ads, if you again want to drive traffic to your website and you are selling, whether it's a product or a service, and you can target specific keywords, right in the beginning is a sure way of obviously getting people to your site. So we actually look at SEO and Google ads as kind of one. And what I mean by that is they work together. So a lot of the time for clients that don't have either set up, we recommend, start with Google ads and invest a little bit more obviously there, because that's getting traffic to your site immediately. And then SEO is the more organic way. And over time, you want your search engine optimization to overtake your ad spend. So you can decrease that and you can have that organic growth. But then there's the likes of, email marketing. And email marketing, I mean, if you've got a really big database, that's fantastic, and distributing your content in that way. But there's also email marketing from an automation perspective. So for instance, if you're a B2C, business, and you have a login portal where people come in, obviously purchase products on your e-commerce site, you can set up automation that is about abandoned carts. So for instance, if you've got your conversion tracking or set up, and people are looking at different products, and they get to the checkouts phase, but then they leave, you can obviously fire away an email, or you can do remarketing on that. So it's super important, obviously, just truly understanding. Actually, it's all about the journey and really how people discover your services and your products, and ensuring that you set it up in that way. So email marketing is obviously another strategy that we can look at. Then we can look at things like social selling. Where if clients don't have a big budget, but you've got great content, or you've got great products and services, you can obviously distribute that online. You can direct people that are part of your Facebook or LinkedIn network, and provide that value by direct selling, which is something that we don't handle that direct selling part, but we help the content development of what will be valuable, to your audience. So that's another strategy that people can look at implementing. Then of course there's likes of social media, and again it's creating that content that your audience will engage with, understand, obviously, that you are selling certain products or services, or just understand more about your culture, because that's what we find is super important for businesses, is actually bringing your culture across. Because at the end of the day, people obviously they buy your products and services, but they also buy into the why. So it's really important that you humanize your brand, and you can showcase what's behind the brand, so people align with that. So social media obviously is a fantastic way to obviously showcase that. But then also obviously the paid advertising on social media. So distributing again that content that you want people to engage with. What's beautiful is the likes of your Facebook and Instagram. It's a very cost-effective way to go about growing your audience and capturing leads. What we spend a lot of time with businesses is doing LinkedIn advertising, and that's for us, it's proven very successful because we are able to obviously capture leads through distributing great content marketing. So when I talk about content marketing, that could be the likes of a webinar or a virtual event, could be an ebook or blogs. So it's that content that showcases you as a thought leader, and that you understand, that your audience is going to be super interested in, and how can you obviously leverage that content and obviously capture leads where they are. So whether that's on social media, or whether that is on a landing page, there's obviously content marketing is another fantastic strategy that people can look at. So I mean, there's a lot to take in. I understand that, but I guess what's really important when you're looking at your strategy is it's really understanding your users, and it's simplifying. It's just simplifying that. So if you truly just understand your users, you understand your business, you understand where they're spending time, what content they are engaging with, and you can actually map out a marketing funnel. So that is, how do customers become aware of your brand, or right the way through to purchasing your product. And along the way, you can obviously see your traffic sources, and you can see the way you can capture a lead. You can see that content marketing that you can deliver. You can look at the remarketing strategies. So just being able to obviously map that out really helps businesses identify with the true strategies that they're going to spend time with. Yeah.
So I wanted to ask you, Brandon, sometimes what I find the most irritating is you've done all of this, and I like that because it's a bit more organic and it feels like it's in control. But do you ever promote to your clients that they should do this? These telesales marketers that actually phone you in the middle of the time you're cooking your dinner or you're watching TV, and you get those irritating calls. I mean, I really find that quite sort of distracting, and I don't know how beneficial those are. Do you ever sort of promote that to your clients, that they should do telesales marketing?
No, I mean, that's not something that is within our services. There are companies that I guess have success with telesales, and that's why it's still around. But I mean, the way we look at it is, if you are creating content that's truly valuable to your audience, and that they're going to engage with, that answers obviously their goals and objectives, that helps them obviously get there, or addresses their pain points, as I mentioned, they are most likely to take action because you are helping them. You see, the days where you actually are just trying to sell to a potential customer are no longer, at least in terms of how we look at things. we look at it as if you're going to be able to, if you're helping your potential customers, if you're providing a lot more value than your competitors, true value, and you're being genuine about that, then they're going to find you. They're going to engage with the content that you have out there, and it's going to help obviously scale your business because you have a steady flow of leads coming in every month, or like whilst you sleep. How amazing is that? When you wake up in the morning, you didn't have time to phone 1,000 people throughout the evening, but you wake up to new leads coming to you because they have a requirement. So they're already warm. And then when you pick up the phone and phone them, they say, "Hey, Karen, yes, I'm looking for an event. We've got an end of year conference coming up, and we see this is something you specialize in." So at least having that flow is just it makes things a lot easier for customers, and it's the natural progression of marketing. So yeah, I personally don't align with Telesales. I've done it myself, to be honest. So I've had to phone a number of people before I was really up and running with Digital Grind. I did the cold outreach, and yeah, the hit rate was not high. Maybe I wasn't good at it, but this way clients are really aligning with our strategies.
So I want to ask you another question. Now, this is all very well. So now we've managed to put out some ebooks, we've done some advertising, we're getting all these leads coming in, which is fantastic. We push it through to our sales team. And now, what tips can you give us around basically lead nurturing? Because now we've got this lead that's come in, we know this person has now come in, but how do I advise my sales team to now nurture this lead? Because obviously it's been quite a process to get this lead in.
Sure. I mean, there's a couple things we need to look at in terms of lead nurturing. So if we look at a marketing funnel, for instance, and you have top of the funnel, middle of the funnel, bottom of the funnel, you can set up capturing landing pages within each of those stages, right? So for instance, if you've got an ebook that talks about event marketing in 2020, for instance, it's a very awareness focused piece. And if someone submits a form and they become a lead, there's a long way before they actually are going to potentially book a consultation with you for an actual event requirement. You need to obviously build trust through case studies or testimonials, which actually leads to a middle of the funnel piece, right? And that is actually the consideration based content. So that is proving they can trust you. So if you have case studies or your company profile or testimonials, whatever that is, and they look at obviously downloading that, then the next stage is actually a bottom of the funnel book a consultation for the likes of your business. For a B2C company, it would be purchasing an actual product. So in terms of the nurturing aspect, if we look at the first two of top and the middle, that's where we want to ensure that we have marketing automation and email automation. So for instance, we see you've just recently downloaded this ebook, or here's your ebook, click on this. If they don't click on it, what happens next? If they do click on it, then what happens? So ensuring that you've got those nurturing sequences with the end goal of obviously pushing them to your bottom of the funnel piece is super important. When they actually obviously get there and let's say they schedule a meeting, then it is very closely linked with sales to obviously follow up. But also they go into your system and ensuring that you are still nurturing them throughout their process, because you want to turn that lead and eventually customer into a promoter of your brand. So that is why you'll find businesses ask for your birthday, because that's a nurturing sequence. Sending you a message saying happy birthday, or sending you related content to your industry, even once you're a customer. From a sales team perspective, they get in touch with people, and let's say they actually don't follow through with arriving to that consultation meeting or purchasing that product. Ensuring that you still distributing content to them on a regular basis, is part of your nurturing. So having a very good CRM system and setting up your automations, and ensuring your sales team are actively on your CRM system, updating how they are keeping in touch with those leads are super important, and that's a good way for them to nurture them.
Well, it sounds like the world has changed completely. I mean, it feels like you need to, have a full-time person managing all of this process and being on top of your game inside your company that sort of understands digital marketing, to make sure that there's a guaranteed flow of sort of the processes keeps taking place, because obviously it's got to be looked at all the time. So how would a little company that possibly doesn't have much money go about managing this process? I mean, a company like yourself, do you help a small company set up these processes and then do you hand it over to them to manage? Or how do you manage this?
Sure. I mean, look, I think for small companies, what's important is there's so many different marketing activities, right, that you can look at doing. But you need to focus on what is the key objective you're trying to achieve. So if it is obviously generating leads, what is the one thing that you can focus on right now to help obviously do that? So that's why we talk about creating an irresistible offer, where clients can't say no. And if that's just your focus on, let's ensure that we create a funnel, a marketing funnel that gets clients to that offer, and then what happens next. So whether that's taking a little bit of money and distributing it through like a Google Ads, or maybe that's not the process. Maybe you don't even have money to advertise that. Obviously, creating the content is super important, but you can do that by repurposing content that is already existing within your organization. Okay, you don't have to obviously cost out, gain a copywriter or a designer. You can actually do that yourself. See, it's a longer process, and we understand that. And then in terms of your distribution of that, you can distribute that, as I mentioned, through social selling, through your network, through going live on like the likes of LinkedIn or Facebook or Instagram, and educating people about what you're offering your target audience. So there are many ways, but I think you want to obviously stay very focused. If you're a smaller company, as I said, there's so many different activities. So you might want to look at social media or SEO or this or this or that. So I'd say don't get overwhelmed with everything. Focus on what you want to achieve, and then set out a plan that's just focuses on that.
Okay, so from a digital grind perspective, if a small company wanted to phone you today and say to you, Brandon, I need your help, how could you help me? Because I think today it all looks at money, and everybody wants to save money because they don't have the cash flow because of COVID. Is there anything that you could offer to help these companies right now to get ahead of the game? Because obviously they all need help right now to get ahead of the game and to generate leads.
Yeah, there is. We love to obviously consult with small companies, but what we've also done for companies, if we put together 5 offers for the month of September and October, and that is basically looking at your different marketing activities and the performance behind them, and providing you insights and recommendations of how you can improve that in performance. So, for instance, small companies that are looking to understand more about their SEO, we are doing a free SEO audit. Companies that are running Google Ads and their ad campaigns, we are helping them audit that. LinkedIn advertising, we're also doing the same. We're looking at companies' marketing funnels as well, and understanding where could you potentially be losing customers, and ensuring that there's measurability along your customer journey and along your funnel, so you can truly create a revenue generating machine through that. And then we're actually also helping larger companies with their Google Analytics and something we call user interaction reporting. You may have heard behavior analytics. And that is basically what's truly going on your website, with the likes of heat maps. How can we increase conversions? So you obviously generate more leads. So that's another thing. And I mean, this is very low cost, and it truly is, it's helping small companies and large companies with that success.
That's wonderful, Brandon. I'm very grateful. So it sounds like you're adding a lot of value to a lot of people. So I think we're going to wrap up now. So from my side, correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is stay focused, understand your target audience, and basically analyze your website. Am I correct in saying that?
So yeah, I mean, I think as like a party note is basically, yeah, simplify it, keep it very simple, because I think we all tend to overcomplicate everything we do as humans, right? Marketing is the same. So yes, as Karen, as you said, truly understand your audience is step one, right? Really understand your users, and as if you understand them, you know how to add value to their lives. Two, obviously, know where you need to distribute your content and know what content you need to create. Um, and then, obviously, as I said, it's the distribution, and then ensuring, obviously, you've got some reporting that is going to measure your results. Um, so yeah, I mean, in a nutshell, obviously, that's kind of what you want to look at. And yeah, just ensuring that you're focusing on your objectives um, and eliminate anything else that may be noise to that.
Fantastic. Well, Brandon, thank you for your time today. We are really, really, really grateful, and have a good week. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
Okay.
Karen. Thanks
That's a
and
pleasure.
thanks to your audience. This was fun.
Great. And to my audience, obviously you will see this on the Whisper Loudly channel, and I will put in Brandon's details should you require any more information. Thank you very much. Enjoy.